With the Batman not too far away from hitting the theaters this Friday, let's talk about Batman Begins. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Doyle, better known to you as the Big D. This time around, I'm going to bring to you a re-review of the 2005 superhero flick, Batman Begins, released by Warner Bros., directed by Christopher Nolan, and written by him and David S. Goyer. Now, I did review this a few years back, but unfortunately, the review didn't do so. My original review didn't get that many views, so since that didn't do as well as the rest of Batman films that came before this, except for Batman Returns, which I'll do a re-review of that later this year. But for now, since this and the next two films didn't get that many views, I'm going to try and do this again. This is the perfect way to promote the release of The Batman in theaters this Friday. I am going to see it this weekend, so be ready for a spoiler-free review of it. The film stars Christian Bale as the titular character from DC Comics and his alter ego Bruce Wayne, with Sir Michael Caine, Liam Neeson, Katie Holmes, Gary Oldman, Cillian Murphy, Tom Wilkinson, Rutger Hauer, Ken Watanabe, and Morgan Freeman in supporting roles. Now, the film focuses on the origin story of Bruce Wayne from the death of his parents to his journey to become Batman, and his fight to stop Ra's al Ghul and the Scarecrow from plunging Gotham City into chaos. Anyway, yes. Now, this film had been in development since 2003. They wanted a more darker tone, what have you. Now, despite while the last one we saw of Batman, which that had been almost 8 years since. Well, I think almost. No, wait, it was 8 years since the last one, and well, despite Batman and Robin wasn't well received, they were going to try to do another one, but well, because of that failure, they just never did make it, so they decided to try again, and decided to make it more darker, and what have you. And, well, it was perfect. A darker, more realistic tone compared to the previous films. A primary goal for their vision, Nolan and Goyer's, was to engage the audience's emotional investment in both the Batman Bruce Wayne identities of the lead character. Anyway, now the comic book storylines such as The Man Who Falls, Batman Year One, and Batman The Long Halloween served as inspiration for this. Anyway, and would go on to be the 9th highest grossing film of 2005. Now, let's get into our story. In Gotham City, young Bruce Wayne falls down a dry well and is attacked by a swarm of bats, developing a fear of them. Attending the opera with his parents, Thomas and Martha, Bruce becomes frightened by performers masquerading as bats and asks to leave. Outside, mugger Joe Chill murders Bruce's parents in front of him, and the orphan Bruce is raised by the family butler, Alfred Pennyworth. 14 years later, Chill is paroled after testifying against Mafia boss Carmine Falcone. Bruce intends to murder Chill to avenge his parents, but one of Falcone's assassins does so first. Bruce's childhood friend, Rachel Dawes, berates him for acting outside the justice system, saying that his father would be ashamed. After confronting Falcone, who tells him that real power comes from being feared, Bruce spends the next 7 years traveling the world, training in combat, and immersing himself in the criminal underworld. In a Botan prison, he meets Henry Ducard, who recruits him to the League of Shadows, led by Ra's al Ghul. After completing his training in ninja methods and purging his fears, Bruce learns that the League knows about Gotham, and believing the city is beyond saving, intends to destroy it. Bruce rejects the League and its edict that killing is necessary, burning down their temple during his escape. Ra's is killed by falling debris while Bruce saves the unconscious Ducard. Returning to Gotham intent on fighting crime, Bruce takes an interest in his family's company, Wayne Enterprises, which is being taken public by the unscrupulous William Earl. Company archivist Lucius Fox, a friend of Bruce's father, allows Bruce access to bunch of prototype defense technologies, including a protective bodysuit and a heavily armored vehicle called a Tumbler. Bruce poses publicly as a shallow playboy while setting up a base in the caves beneath Wayne Manor and taking up the vigilante identity of Batman, inspired by his childhood fear, which he has now conquered. Intercepting a drug shipment, Batman provides Rachel with evidence against Falcone and enlists Sergeant James Gordon, one of Gotham's few honest cops, to arrest him. In prison, Falcone meets Dr. Jonathan Caine, a corrupt psychologist whom he has helped smuggle drugs into Gotham. Donning a scarecrow mask, Caine sprays Falcone with a fear-inducing hallucinogen and has him transferred to Arkham Asylum. While investigating the Scarecrow, Batman is incapacitated by the hallucinogen, but is saved by Alfred and given an antidote developed by Fox. When Rachel, now a Gotham Assistant District Attorney, accuses Caine of corruption, he reveals he has introduced his drug into Gotham's water supply. That would cause some serious. He drugs Rachel, but Batman subdues him by spraying Caine with his own chemical, then interrogates him, who claims to work for Ra's al Ghul. Batman evades the police by attracting a large horde of bats, using a high-pitched sound to get Rachel to safety. Administering her the antidote and giving her a vial of it for Gordon and another for mass production, which that was good. But at Bruce's birthday party, Ducard reappears and reveals himself to be the true Ra's al Ghul, having stolen a powerful microwave emitter from Wayne Enterprises. He plans to vaporize Gotham's water supply, rendering Caine's drug airborne and causing mass hysteria that will destroy the city. He sets Wayne Manor aflame and leaves Bruce to die, but Alfred rescues him. Now for the ending, you know the procedure like always. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below to avoid ending spoilers. If you've seen the movie already, please continue on after the 5 seconds are over with. Thank you for your understanding like always. And let us begin right about now. Okay, you've been warned. Ra's loads the microwave emitter onto Gotham's monorail system to release the drug at the city's central water source. Batman rescues Rachel from a drug mob and indirectly reveals his identity to her. Confronting Ra's on the monorail, as Gordon uses the Tumbler's cannons to destroy a section of the track, Batman refuses to kill Ra's but chooses not to save him, gliding from the train as it crashes, killing Ra's. Bruce gains Rachel's respect and love, but she decides she cannot be with him now, telling him if Gotham should no longer need Batman, they can be together. Batman becomes a public hero, and Bruce reveals he has purchased a controlling stake in Wayne Enterprises, firing Earl and replacing him with Fox. Sergeant Gordon is promoted to lieutenant, and shows Batman the bat signal and tells him about a criminal who lives behind Joker playing cards. Batman promises to look into it and disappears into the night. End of story. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. I had to take care of something. So what did I think of Batman Begins? I gotta say, it was amazing. Now, after its theatrical run, I managed to get a special deluxe edition on DVD containing a little book containing elements of Batman comics, including part of The Long Halloween, as well as a look at the very first Batman comic from 1939. Anyway, the film did pretty well. It was met largely with positive reviews. with praise for the tone, Christian Bale's performance, action sequences, score, direction, and the emotional weight compared to previous Batman films. And it's often been cited as one of the most influential films of the 2000s. The film would later be followed by The Dark Knight 3 years later, and then 4 years later with The Dark Knight Rises, with the 3 films constituting the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, the score was done by Hans Zimmer along with James Newton Howard. They both did an exceptionally good job on the score, and I must say, that was awesome. I agree with what critics say about this. The action sequences were amazing. Christopher Nolan's direction was really good. Now, this kind of what made him become a bigger name and what have you. And even though he did direct some films before this, like the suspense film Memento, which I have seen, but that's been a long time. But anyway, I do love the performances we get from the cast, aside from Christian Bale, who plays Bruce Wayne and Batman. I must say, he's really good. And what can I say? He was just so amazing and everything. Now, yes, now, well, many others was up for the role, including Jake Gyllenhaal, Joshua Jackson, let's see, David Boreanaz, Cillian Murphy, who of course would play Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, and the late Heath Ledger, who would go on to play the Joker in The Dark Knight. Plus future Superman, Henry Cavill. Yes, before he would go on to play Superman in Man of Steel. Anyway, and well, Bale felt that the previous Batman films underused his character, overplaying the villains instead. To best pose as the character, Bale studied graphic novels and illustrations of the hero. Well, according to Nolan, he said he has exactly the balance of darkness and light that we were looking for. And right he was. Next, playing Alfred is Sir Michael Caine. I must say, he's really good. Now, originally the role was to go to Sir Anthony Hopkins, but he declined, however. But that was fine. Caine does an exceptionally good job. Liam Neeson plays Ducard, aka the true Ra's al Ghul. Now, although it's also pronounced as Ra's al Ghul, if you've seen Batman the Animated Series, because I had forgotten this character actually did appear on that show until I got to revisit it. Let's see. But pretty good performance from him. Katie Holmes plays Rachel Dawes. She's very good in it. Unfortunately, she didn't return for the sequel. It went to Maggie Gyllenhaal. Then we got Gary Oldman, who recently had started playing Sirius Black in the Harry Potter franchise. The previous year in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, he would play James Gordon. Now Oldman was Nolan's first choice for Ra's al Ghul, but when Chris Cooper turned down the part of Gordon to spend time with his family, Nolan decided that it would be refreshing for Oldman, who was renowned for his portrayals of villains, to play the role instead. And I must say, he's really good. And according to Goyer, he said Oldman heavily resembled Gordon as drawn by David Mazzucchelli in Batman Year One. Cillian Murphy plays Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow. I must say, he's really good. Scarecrow is really creepy once he finds out that toxin, what have you, is. Tom Wilkinson plays Falcone. He's pretty good. Rucker Howard plays William Earl. He's good. Ken Watanabe plays the decoy Ra's al Ghul. And Morgan Freeman plays Lucius Fox. Now, he's exceptionally good in this. Rest of the cast includes several others, including Mark Boone Jr. playing Arnold Flash-Gordon's corrupt partner. Let's see. Linus Roach plays Thomas Wayne. There's just so many. It's incredible. This has a real good cast. Anyway, the film did pretty well, and it went on to make $373 million worldwide. It's going to have numerous things and what have you, as well as books and a video game, which I actually did have on PlayStation 2. I was pretty good at most of it. It was tough in some parts. And the tumbler driving stages were awesome and what have you. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, okay, now I'm seeing. The deluxe edition I mentioned had a little book. It contained the first Batman story featured in Detective Comics number 27, plus an excerpt from Batman the Long Halloween and Batman the Man Who Falls. Really something. So anyway, I'm really glad that this became a big redemption for Batman, and it would go on to be one of my main favorite films of 2005. I really do love it. Anyway, with a great cast, a great story, a great score, great direction, etc., 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 would I recommend Batman Begins? The answer is hell yeah. This is a flick you need to see. I really do love this movie, and it's really good. Batman Begins is just so awesome. So, and that's about it. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Batman Begins? You can tell me in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a review of The Dark Knight. Thank you for watching, and if you like this, you may want to consider checking out my reviews for some of these other films. Some of these, well, previous DC films, that is. In the upper left-hand corner is my spoiler-free review I did for Wonder Woman 1984 from 2020. Or go to the upper right-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review for The Suicide Squad from last year. Or, if you want something else, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my review of Batman from 1989, which I won't do a re-review of until maybe another time because that video did pretty well. And the bottom right-hand corner, is the button you can click to subscribe, in which I'm happy that I'm now at 400 subscribers. Anyway, if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.